There are some homes that do not ask to be admired quickly. They ask us to slow down. They ask us to breathe a little deeper, to soften our shoulders, to let the noise of the day fall away for a while. This vintage shabby chic cottage feels like one of those homes, not perfect, not polished, not trying too hard to impress, but full of a quiet tenderness that seems to have been gathered over many years. It feels like a place remembered more than a place designed. A place where autumn has arrived gently, not with grand display, but with the soft feeling of homecoming. A little warmth near the doorway, a little seasonal beauty tucked into familiar corners, a sense that the house has seen many years pass and has chosen to keep only what mattered most. This is the kind of cozy cottage that speaks to the heart before it speaks to the eye. It carries the feeling of old house memories, of rooms that once held family voices, slow mornings, quiet suppers, and the kind of everyday love that rarely announced itself, but somehow stayed. There is a gentle loneliness here, but it is not an empty loneliness. It is the kind of loneliness that comes when a home still feels full of memory, even after time has changed everything. It is the feeling of walking into a room and sensing that someone once cared deeply about making it warm, welcoming, and alive. Someone chose things slowly. Someone kept what was useful, what was pretty, what was sentimental, and what could not be thrown away because it belonged to a season of life that mattered. And maybe that is why a nostalgic home like this can feel so comforting. It reminds us that beauty does not always come from newness. Sometimes it comes from age, from softness, from familiar imperfections, from the way a house seems to remember the hands that cared for it. For many of us, this kind of vintage home brings back childhood memories in a quiet and surprising way. Not always one clear memory, but a feeling. The feeling of visiting a grandmother's house when the afternoon light was already beginning to fade. The feeling of hearing grown-ups talking in another room while we sat nearby, half listening, safe and unhurried. The feeling of a kitchen that was never arranged for photographs, but always seemed to have something kind about it. Older homes often felt less perfect than the homes we see today, but somehow more personal. They were not always carefully matched. They were not always open, bright, and edited. They carried layers. They held traces of different years, different people, different needs. A home could have something inherited beside something repaired, something faded beside something freshly loved. And instead of feeling wrong, it felt real. That is part of the charm of cottage style, especially vintage cottage style. It gives permission for a home to feel gathered rather than staged. It allows tenderness to matter more than perfection. It reminds us that a peaceful home does not need to be flawless. It only needs to feel honest, warm, and deeply cared for. In this autumn cottage, the season seems to settle into the house like a memory returning. Autumn has a way of making the past feel closer. The air changes, the light softens, and suddenly we remember things we had not thought about in years. A road near our childhood home, a family recipe, a person who used to make ordinary days feel safe, a room we once knew so well that we could walk through it in the dark. This is why autumn and nostalgia belong so naturally together. Autumn does not rush. It teaches us to notice what is fading, what is changing, and what still brings warmth. It is a season of reflection, of homecoming, of quiet evenings when the heart wants something softer than the outside world can offer. And this shabby chic cottage seems made for that feeling. It feels like a relaxing home tour through a place where time has not been erased. Surfaces appear softened by years of use. Details feel inherited rather than chosen all at once. Nothing feels cold or too perfect. The rooms have the emotional richness of a home that has been lived in, loved in, and remembered through many seasons. There is comfort in that. A new house can be beautiful, but an old house can feel like a companion. It can seem to know something about waiting, about patience, about holding on. It can make us feel that our own memories are welcome here too. Maybe that is why so many people are drawn to nostalgic interior style. It is not only about decorating, it is about longing for a feeling, a slower rhythm, a softer world, a home where things did not have to be perfect to be precious. In the 1940s, homes often carried a different kind of emotional weight. Life was not always easy, and comfort was not something people took for granted. A home had to be practical, yes, but it also had to be a shelter for the heart. It had to hold family, routine, seasons, small celebrations, and quiet endurance. That spirit still lingers in this kind of cottage. There's a sense of making do beautifully, a sense of keeping things because they still have soul, a sense of caring for a home not by replacing everything, but by tending to what is already there. And perhaps that is what makes it feel so moving. This is not a home that feels young. It feels wise in a gentle way. It feels like it has watched children grow, watched seasons pass, watched people come and go. It has seen laughter, work, silence, and change, and through all of it, it has remained a place of softness. A vintage home like this can remind us of the women who made ordinary rooms feel like sanctuary. Mothers, grandmothers, aunts, neighbors, women who knew how to create comfort without calling it design. They knew where warmth was needed. They knew how to make a room feel ready for someone to rest. They understood that home was not only about how things looked, but how people felt when they entered. That kind of homemaking was quiet but powerful. It lived in small choices, in the way things were kept, in the way the house seemed to welcome you even before anyone said a word, in the feeling that there was always a place to sit, a reason to stay, and someone who cared whether you were comfortable. This video is a gentle escape into that feeling. Not a perfect real estate tour, not a practical guide to modern living, more like a calming home video for the part of us that still misses somewhere we cannot quite return to. A peaceful home imagined through memory, a relaxing slideshow for anyone who wants to rest inside the feeling of old warmth for a little while. As you move through this cottage in your mind, notice how the atmosphere feels collected slowly. That is one of the easiest ways to bring this feeling into your own home. Do not begin with the idea that everything must match. Begin with the feeling you want to create. A nostalgic home often feels best when it has layers. Softness layered over age, comfort layered over memory, seasonal touches layered over everyday life, nothing too sharp, nothing too empty. The most comforting rooms usually feel as though they have grown over time, with pieces added because they meant something, not because they completed a trend. For cottage decorating ideas, start with gentleness. Choose lighting that feels warm and restful, especially in the evening. Let the room have a quiet glow instead of a bright glare. A peaceful home often begins with the way light touches it. Soft lighting can make even a simple corner feel tender and lived in. Then think about texture. A vintage cottage feeling comes from softness you can almost feel through the eyes. Worn surfaces, layered fabrics, gentle patterns, and materials that do not look too new can make a room feel emotionally warmer. This does not mean a home must be old. It means it should not feel untouched. It should feel like life is welcome there. Collected pieces also matter. Not too many, not clutter for the sake of clutter, but a few things that feel personal, inherited, handmade, or remembered. A home becomes more comforting when it carries little signs of a life, something kept from another season, something that reminds you of family, something that has a story, even if the story is only yours. This is the heart of home decor inspiration in a nostalgic interior. It is not about copying every detail. It is about creating an atmosphere where the heart can settle down. Seasonal home decor can help, especially in autumn, but it works best when it feels natural. A few gentle signs of the season can make a home feel connected to the passing year. Autumn does not need to be loud to be beautiful. It can arrive quietly, with warmth, softness, and small reminders that the year is turning. That is what this cottage seems to understand. The season is present, but it does not overwhelm the home. It simply deepens the feeling. It makes the rooms seem more reflective, more tender, more aware of time. Autumn brings with it the knowledge that everything changes, and yet some things remain deeply loved. There is a kind of grace in that. As we grow older, we understand homes differently. When we are young, we may think a beautiful home is one that looks new, clean, and impressive. Later in life, we often come to value something else, a home that feels forgiving, a home that holds memory, a home where nothing has to be perfect for us to feel at peace. Maybe that is why this vintage shabby chic cottage feels so meaningful for women who have lived through many seasons of their own. It honors the beauty of age. It does not try to hide wear, softness, or change. It allows the past to remain visible in a tender way. There is emotional honesty in that. The gentle loneliness in this home may remind us of people we miss, but it also reminds us that love leaves traces. A room can feel tender because someone once cared for it. A season can feel emotional because it brings back the warmth of other years. A house can seem quiet and still feel full. That is the strange beauty of old house memories. They are not always clear, they come in pieces, a feeling in the air, a certain kind of light, the quiet mood of an autumn afternoon, the sense that somewhere long ago we were small and someone else was taking care of the world for us. This nostalgic home lets that feeling return without asking too much from us. It does not demand that we explain why we feel moved. It simply gives us a place to rest with the feeling, to remember, to miss, to feel grateful, to understand that sadness and comfort can sometimes sit side by side. maybe that is what makes this relaxing slideshow so soothing. It gives us permission to pause, to step away from the speed of modern life, to enter a softer version of home where the past is not painful but tender, where autumn is not only a season but a quiet invitation to come back to ourselves. In today's world, homes can sometimes feel too perfect, too edited, too temporary. We replace things quickly, we move fast, we clear away the old before we have time to understand what it meant. But a cozy home with a vintage spirit reminds us that some things are worth keeping. Not because they are valuable in a formal way, but because they carry warmth, because they remind us of someone, because they make the room feel human. A vintage cottage does not need everything to be new. It needs a sense of care, it needs softness, it needs a little history, it needs room for memory. And this is something anyone can bring into their own space, even in a small way. You do not need an old cottage to create the feeling of a nostalgic home. You can begin with atmosphere, a calmer evening routine, a softer corner, a few meaningful pieces gathered together, a seasonal touch that makes you smile, a slower way of arranging the home so it feels less like a display and more like a refuge. Let your home feel gently lived in. Let it hold pieces of your own story. Let it welcome the season without losing itself. Let it be less perfect if that makes it more comforting. The beauty of slow living is not that life becomes simple all at once. It is that we begin to notice what actually soothes us. We notice the comfort of a quiet room, the kindness of warm light, the memory held in old details, the way a peaceful home can help us feel less alone. And in autumn, this becomes especially powerful. Autumn asks us to gather in, to prepare for quieter days, to cherish warmth where we find it. It is a season that understands both beauty and letting go. The leaves change, the evenings deepen, and homes begin to feel more important again. This cottage seems to belong to that moment. It feels like a place where autumn has come not to decorate, but to remember. It brings with it the feeling of harvest, homecoming, and quiet reflection. It reminds us of family gatherings, of older kitchens, of gentle voices, of the kind of comfort that did not need to be explained. And beneath all of that, there is gratitude. Gratitude for homes that once sheltered us. Gratitude for people who made us feel safe. Gratitude for the small, ordinary things that became beautiful only after time had passed. Sometimes when we look at a vintage home, we are not only admiring a style, we are recognizing a feeling we have missed, the feeling of being cared for, the feeling of belonging somewhere, the feeling that life, even with all its changes, still contains softness. That is the emotional power of this cottage style. It reaches beyond decoration, it becomes a memory of love. So as you continue watching, let this home be a quiet place for you. Let it bring back whatever it brings back. Maybe it reminds you of your grandmother's house. Maybe it reminds you of your mother or an aunt or a neighbor who always made her home feel welcoming. Maybe it reminds you of a season in your own life when things were simpler, or at least felt that way from where you stand now. And if it brings a little sadness, that is all right. Some sadness is only love remembering where it has been. Some loneliness is only the heart noticing what once mattered. This kind of home does not try to remove that feeling. It softens it, it gives it a place to sit, it turns memory into comfort and comfort into peace. That is why a vintage shabby chic cottage can feel so healing. It lets imperfection become beautiful, it lets age become gentle, it lets the past remain close without asking us to live there forever. For a little while, we can simply rest here. We can imagine the quiet of an autumn afternoon. We can imagine the house breathing softly around us. We can imagine that every worn detail has been kept for a reason, and every gentle corner has a story. We can let the music carry us, let the images pass slowly, and let our own memories rise and settle again. This is not just a cozy cottage. It is a peaceful home for the heart. A vintage home where autumn feels tender. A nostalgic interior filled with old warmth. A calming home video for anyone who needs a softer place to land today. And as this journey comes to a close, I hope it leaves you with a feeling of comfort, not the kind that erases longing, but the kind that sits beside it kindly. I hope it reminds you that beauty can be found in what is faded, what is remembered, what is imperfect, and what has been loved for a long time. Before you go, I would love to know what this home brought back for you. Does this cottage remind you of somewhere from your past? Did it make you think of a person, a season, or a home you still carry in your heart? Or did it simply give you a peaceful feeling for a few quiet minutes? Share your thoughts in the comments. Sometimes one memory from someone else helps another person remember their own. And that is part of what makes this little community so comforting. We are not only looking at homes together, we are remembering the feeling of home together.